thank you all for coming. I know you could be doing so many things today. I don't know what's on Netflix, but or everybody's got something they could be doing. So that you took the time is it's nice. We're going to try to cover a lot of ground today. So stay with me, and hopefully I'll manage to say something that will be of some use to you. I wanted to say that we're going to have a quiz. And if you don't get all the answers, no Krishna Prasadam, no feast for you. Thanks. That's all right. We'll get it later. It's all right. Yeah. Thanks, though. There's 3 Sanskrit words. And if you remember them, they will help you in your spiritual journey. And we're going to talk about those 3 words in a moment. And they are Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. Everybody say after me, Guru. Now I will say one at a time, just to make it easy. Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. Those are 3 cardinal points that can help guide us in our spiritual life, in our spiritual growth. And they're Sanskrit terms, but why do they matter? Let's give a little preface. The Vedas teach, Vedas are our wisdom books, our source of knowledge. And the Vedas say that we all have 3 defects. In the Gita, as a sidelight, Krishna gives a description of what are the symptoms, qualities and symptoms of one who is in knowledge. And the first one Krishna lists is humility. And when he describes humility, my Guru Maharaj, my teacher, in his commentary points out that this is the key. Humility is the key that unlocks the development of all the other qualities of wisdom or knowledge. And one of the qualities of humility is to be honest about our actual condition. What do they say? Diagnosis of a disease is 90% of the cure, or certainly it's the first step, prerequisite, necessary step for cure, is to know what's wrong. And according to the Vedic literatures, we all have 4 defects. In fact, every conditioned soul, that means every soul, certainly includes me, before they're fully liberated, they have these 4 defects. And one of the defects is imperfect senses. I mean, we can't see what's on the other side of this wall. There's a whole range of sound that we can't hear. Our senses are actually limited. And if we think that our senses, I'm an empiricist, if I can't see it, smell it, taste it, measure it, if it's not subject to my sense perception, which is the basic principle of modern science. We're not against science, don't get me wrong. But if we think that everything is subject to the perception of our senses, well, there's a whole reality that we're missing, because our senses are limited. I mean, how big is the sun? You ever seen it? I mean, we all look at it. It looks like a small dot in the sky. Is it a small dot in the sky? We all say no. But how do we know? By sense perception? No way. We've heard from sources that we trust. Well, it's so many millions of miles away, and it's the biggest plane, whatever it is. The whole explanation is there. But according to our senses, it's very small. We don't know what's on the other side of this wall. So sense perception is very limited. We have imperfect, limited senses. And if our senses are our means of our knowledge, if A equals B and B equals C, A equals C, if our senses are limited and our source of gaining knowledge is our sense perception, well then guess what? the honest conclusion is, well, hey, our senses are going to be limited. Our knowledge is going to be limited. So imperfect senses. What's the next? The next is a tendency to be illusioned. Even we see, let's give it for a moment, we've perceived things properly. But the sense that, like you see a mirage or, so many different things, we may perceive but misunderstand what we're perceiving. You follow? So we have limited senses, and even if we've got that down, the way we process the whole thing, we have a tendency to make mistakes, to be illusioned. Another quality is, let's see if there's anything else I wanted to say on that. Oh, one of the biggest illusions is to think that we're this body. We're not, here's a simple example. Someone dies, happens to all of us, time and tide wait for no one, due course of time. And the loved ones are saying, oh, our father is gone, our father is gone. Now you could say, your father's not gone, he's lying right there. He's all dressed up in a nice suit, lying in a box, he's sitting right there. She said, no, that's not our father is gone. Well, what's gone is the soul. And if you're saying you've never really seen your father, you've just been thinking that your father is this body and we think we're this body, but actually that's not us. We're the soul within the body that is suffusing the body with consciousness. So that's another one, a tendency to be illusioned, to think we're this body. And then the last thing is, in spite of all of this, we've all got our ideas. That I was sitting with my teacher, my guru, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, and some man kept saying, he was humility. My teacher was humility personified. Sometimes we give a class on that. But in his role as a teacher, sometimes you've got to assert yourself. So the man kept saying, well, as far as I can see. Well, as far as I can see. Well, Swami, as far as I can see. And after about the fifth or sixth time, Srila Prabhupada, my teacher, said, that's my point. How far can you see? So in spite of, imperfect senses, a tendency to be illusioned, a tendency to make mistakes, we still think, oh, I've got it all figured out and I know, So the point I'm trying to make is that if we really want to advance in spiritual life, we've got to recognize that I'm not going to figure it out on my own. They say, suppose you want to mail a letter. You're here at the temple, you want to mail a letter for some reason. Computer doesn't work, you want to go old school and post something. Well, you got to go to the post office, or you got to go to a mailbox. So you ask the devotees, where's the post office? Where's the mailbox? And if we say, it's not knowing, it's the journey. Go and seek it, my friend. Okay, it's romantic, we all like adventure, but it's really not going to, if you really just want to mail your letter, let me save the sojourn of the soul for later on, but right now I want to mail my letter, you're not going to appreciate that answer. You're going to say, hey, go to the corner, shoot down Cass, and there's the post office is right down the street. Thanks. So if we're serious, if we actually want to reach the goal, then we need to recognize, hey, I could use some advice here. I could use some help. I could use some instruction. I'm not going to figure it all out on my own with the tools, with the using my senses and all that stuff. It's not going to work. That's honesty. So with that foundational understanding, and I'm looking at the time, then what to do? So I'll give one last example, then we'll get to Guru Shastra and Sadhu. Suppose some devious individual, or as a prank, had poured glue on this seat. And due to my fallible senses and a tendency to make mistakes, I sat down here and it's fast-drying glue. And I am now lodged onto this seat. And let's suppose the seat's bolted down. Can I shake hands with you? You're too smart. The point is, it's a visual thing. I'm limited. I can only reach so far. But can I shake hands with her or not? Anyone want? We've got any advocates for no? Got any advocates for yes? How is it possible? If she takes the initiative, then it becomes very easy, isn't it? She reached, we got it. So if we accept that we're limited, then to understand the absolute, that which is beyond us, it's revelatory. It has to descend. It has to come to us. So the first principle is guru. One needs to accept, what is it? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadikshanti te jnana jnanivas tattvadarshanaha, which is a verse from the Gita. And we could spend time on that. But the last line of that, it gives the qualifications for becoming a student. To inquire, you don't just, we're not into blind faith, but inquire with a desire to actually know. I've seen people grill my spiritual master with so many questions. He would say, don't try to misunderstand. Ask a question to clarify so that you can understand. It's not just stump the Swami, but try to find out, what's going on here. So ask, inquire, get a clear understanding, not blind faith, but ask to understand. And then it says, and also render service, because by that service, the heart becomes cleansed. That's a whole other thing. But the strobe lights continue. Bhakti Alex, thank you very much. To the rescue. But you have to find someone who actually knows. Let me say it. I should have said this first. Shastra, before we get to guru. Shastra means, it means a number of things. But in this context, it means the book. Suppose every field, you want to become a surgeon or doctor, you want to become I don't know what, you want to learn how to carve wood, pick it, you want to garden. I'm a gardener. I do better with plants than people. So I've got a book on how to prune fruit trees. I open the book, hey, there it is, how to prune roses. We all, if you're serious about everything, even, canned corn. Of course, we all use everything fresh. It's a true story. Libby's canned corn had the instructions on the label. Open can, pour in saucepan, heat to taste. A trained chimp could do it, right? No way, man. They figured we'll use this space on the can, on the label for advertising. Took it off. People are sticking the cans in microwaves. People are, it was all over America. People were scratching their head, banging it on their head to open it. And they're voting for president. But the point is that even as simple as thing, there's instructions. Everything you get gets an instruction manual with it. And that the idea that this creation, this world, and our place in it, there's no instruction, there's no guidance, People say, hey, if there's God, just come down here and straighten it out. Show me. Well, actually, he descends, revelatory. That transcendental knowledge comes down. It's a whole story how it comes. But the Vedic literature handed by master to disciple, comes down in the form of the Vedic literature. So there's the knowledge. There's a how-to-do book. We're not groping around. You don't have to grope around in the dark. So that's Shastra, books of spiritual knowledge. Now, you need guru. I jumped ahead, but that's the second book. You need guru. Suppose, anyway, suppose I'll just tell the story. I had a hernia operation. I blew a gut, something in my stomach many years ago. Now, the doctor I went to, turns out, I didn't know this later, I found out later on, his office was designed, it was a maritime theme. It had captain's hats and, what do you call it, steering wheel or whatever you call it. fishing nets. But the waiting room I was in had all kinds of old harpoons. I'm there for, we're going to talk about surgery. I'm sitting there, he's got these rusty harpoons on the wall. I said, whoa, that was not a real faith builder. So suppose you come to me and I come at you with a hacksaw. And you say, wait a minute. Where did you go to medical school? I say, no, I never went to school. I never was trained. I never did residency, but I got the book. You going to let me work on you? I got my kit. I went down to Ace Hardware. I got my screwdriver in my hand. And no. The book is necessary, but it's not the complete process. It's not sufficient. We need what they call, there's the Bhagavad, which is the book. There's the book Bhagavad, and there's the personality Bhagavad, the person who has realized the knowledge in the book. And in every field it's like that. If it's a complicated, sophisticated science, having the book is necessary, but you need the teacher who understands it and can explain it and show you by example. In fact, one of the names for a spiritual teacher is Acharya. Acharya means behavior. Acharya means one whose behavior teaches. So if we're serious about spiritual life, we need the transcendental wisdom. We need the books that will tell us what is the path. Then we need someone to teach us who's realized that knowledge. You need the guru. So you need Shastra, you need the guru. And the last of the three is Sadhu. We need to associate with saintly people who are living that life. We're not saying everybody's got to shave their head, although it's always in fashion. We're not saying that at all. But we need, whatever you associate, it's just a law of consciousness. Whatever we associate with, we become like. Garbage in, garbage out. Simple thing. So if we associate with people who are serious about spiritual life, I'll give you another example. If you want to train for track, you want to train with somebody who's faster than you. Why? Why do you want to train with someone who's faster than you? You want to challenge, and it pulls out the best in you. You got to try harder. So if we associate with people who are more advanced than us in spiritual life, it encourages us, inspires us. It says, hey, this might work. Hey, this may pay off. Hey, maybe this is, whatever. So we'll wrap up here. But the point I wanted to make is that if we're serious about spiritual life, it's not just, it'll all come to me and, it's all within my heart. Those are all nice sentiments, and those are elements. There is a place for inspiration. There is a place for personal contemplation. No doubt about it. But augmenting that, supporting that, we need Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. We need books of spiritual wisdom. We need to find a teacher who is realized in that knowledge, who can act. I'll tell you another thing. We are dictated to by our mind so many times. I think this, I think that, I feel like that. People love people. They get married till... My daughter told me, she was in high school. I don't know, it was sociology or something like that. But the teacher said, how many of you plan on getting married? And 20 years ago, so everybody raised their hand, How many are planning on getting divorced? Nobody raised their hand. But we know the person was making the point, the teacher, I don't know where he's going with it, but 50% of the people are going to get divorced. So you should think about it. So that's not our point. We're not critiquing, marital life. But the point I'm making is that they all loved each other, and then something happened. So we think we have so many, I want to do this. I want to become, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted so many things. So we think, we feel. But those things are ephemeral. It's just a fact of the life. They're according to time, place, circumstance, so many different things. So if we base our means of perception on I think, I feel, fallible senses, whimsical mind, we're not going to be very... This life is very short. And there's a lot of ways to get distracted from genuine spiritual life. There's a lot of ways we can go off on and wake up 20 years later and say, what happened? How did I wind up here? And this is not where I wanted to be in life. This is what happened? It happens to most people, many people. What is this all about 20 years later? So our simple point, and we'll end here, I promise, is to accept a little humility, a little need for help, and to take advantage of Shastra, spiritual literature, to find a genuine spiritual master, and to associate with saintly people. And then our path forward in spiritual life is very much assured. It's safe and sure. So now the last thing I'm going to say is that we have Bhakti Glenn. See Bhakti Glenn over here? We have a stack of Bhagavad Gitas. Bhagavad Gita is the foundational book of the Vedic literature. It describes, from these 5 elements, time, what is this material nature? What is karma? What have I forgotten? What is the Supreme Lord? And who we are. So the individual, which is jiva, time, which is called kala in Sanskrit, the material nature, all this stuff, which is called prakriti, and the absolute, which is called purusha. And then karma, the interaction of all these things create karma, action and reaction. As you soweth, so shall you reap. So these 5 themes which explain reality are laid out in Bhagavad Gita. And from Bhagavad Gita, the principles explained in Bhagavad Gita, my spiritual master said, everyone can know who is who, what is what, and where to go. Who is who, what's what, and where to go. So my humble appeal is, please, these Bhagavad Gitas, I don't get a commission, they sell for $5. That's our price, isn't it? Paper-bound Bhagavad Gita. If you've got $5, take a Bhagavad Gita. If you're not happy, if you don't find by reading Bhagavad Gita 10 minutes a day, how long does it take to get to tune in to whatever it is, to brush your teeth, or, I don't know, find your car keys? That takes sometimes 10 minutes, So 10 minutes out of your day reading Bhagavad Gita, I swear to you, you will find a revolutionary change in your life. Worked for me. Still, I'm reading Bhagavad Gita 50 years later. If it doesn't, you come to me, or where's Balaram? Here's Balaram, there's Glenn. We'll give you your if you read Bhagavad Gita 10 minutes a day, I swear to you, and you don't feel a profound, better difference in your life, come to us, we'll give you your money back. We'll give you $5 back. And if you don't have $5, you come see me, we'll give it to you for free. But if you don't have a copy of Srila Prabhupada's Gita, what's the loss? $5, or you can get, I'm serious, this is how, or you can get it for free. Take it home, read it. You're not going to understand it immediately. You're not going to understand all of it. Any book of deep knowledge, it's not Dick and Jane. It's profound. We've got tech support. We've got classes. We're online. You can ask the devotees. We can give you links. There's so many ways you can, in the comfort of your own home, on your own screen, or you can come, whatever. There's all kinds of, because this is what we live for. For us, we're happy. Really, if we had a choice, we monks, we'd probably move to a holy place. We'd be sitting by the banks of the Ganga, the Ganges River or the Jamuna. We'd be in Vrindavan. A holy tirtha, a holy place. You just breathe the air and you can feel it. Why be here? We're not here for the beach, All the beaches, we appreciate Krishna's beauty, but we're here because we've found something wonderful and we want to share it. So I'll end here. Please don't feel on the spot. If you don't do it, we'll still be friends and all that. Don't worry about it. But seriously consider, if you got $5 in your pocket, pick up a Bhagavad Gita. If you don't, take one for free, because it'll change your life. And when you get to something, well, what's that all? There is commentary on every verse, almost every verse. There's an explanation by my spiritual master. And you know, fine, if you don't understand, ask us. That's what we're here for. Okay. What do we do now, Balaram? Do we take questions, or I think it's a bit late? Well, I don't want to. It's up to them. They're hungry. I don't want to keep people. I know there's far greater forces than me, and hunger is one of them. I think we should end. Is it okay? Yeah, let's end it, and you can take prasadam. Have a nice feast. Thank you very much, Harika. Oh, wait. What's the quiz? There's 3 basic principles for helping us advance in spiritual life. How to do this in order. First one starts with a G. Anyone know what it is? Guru. Very good. And what is the next one that starts with an S? Shastra. Guru means teacher. Shastra means book. What is the last one, which also starts with an S? Sadhu. It means saintly people. Associate with saintly people. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thanks, Balaram.
All right, thank you very much, Badrinarayan Swami. So yeah, they'll be bringing the dinner out any moment now, and it's in to-go boxes. So if you like, you could take it to go, or you could have it here. We have this every Thursday, so feel free to stop by. We've been doing it for the last 10 years, and I think we'll continue. So yeah, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hey. One thing, this Sunday, right, Balaram? Yeah. We're having an initiation ceremony. We're having some of our young monks are taking their vows. This is when they, after they've studied their spiritual master carefully, he's studied them, and they've decided, I want to become your full-time disciple. So it's a fun ceremony, and there'll be some discussion about what that means, and then there will be a knockout feast afterwards, right? It's Sunday, this Sunday, starts at 5:30, and then when the initiation, all this stuff starts at 6. Okay. So you're all welcome. It's fun. And it's nice to give your blessing to these young disciples, these young monks. It's fun.